Welcome to our today's session. Is our online class. It's our online group coaching session. We are running a series of foundation of personal success, and there are so many content we have covered already, and we will continue to cover. Nowadays, we are covering the core value for achieving the personal success. And last week we discussed about humility as a core value, and before that we learned about integrity. Today is we are one step ahead uh, to understand what is courage. So courage is one of the vital value for letting the foundation of personal success for any great individual if they want to uh, be really and truly successful in their life. So um, it's just a 20-second video. We It's a couple of announcement. We organize this online class every Sunday 8 p.m. And everybody is welcome to join us. You can also join our Google Classroom. These are their credentials, and you can contact me anytime. This is our email address. Before we start this session, there are key and notable some links which is related to me and the work which I'm involved. That's our website, our business website, where you can book your coaching session. They are paid and free coaching session most of the time. It's my next is my blog where I do post uh, and I write blogs on that. This is our main Facebook 7 Habit group, of which last week we approached and a milestone of 30,000 group members. And this is a business page of the 7 Habit. And then it's a business Facebook page of our business. And this is the last one is a YouTube channel where we record where we upload all recording of our online events. So we suggest you can at least join our YouTube channel and join our also Facebook group and subscribe our pages as well. So before this session, we need to respect the privacy of other, and we will continue to mute our microphone. If we have a question, we can um, unmute our mic and then we can ask the question. Video questions are very welcome. This session is for everyone who's a truth lover, reality seeker, and who wants to really change the direction of their life. So let's start our session. Um, there are many over 200 values, core values, which we are discussing. These are the list, and we will discuss some of the core values from that list. And these are the skills which are professional skills, which are different from core values, but they are different, and there is a difference between skills and the personal traits or the values. Um, we will also discuss these professional skills in our personal skills as well, but later after a couple of months probably. So I would like to start from here, that the courage is an attitude. Um, for many people, it's look like incredible or very incredible and very daring things people they do in our current world. This is one of the skydiving, group skydiving. Um, and Aristotle is a great philosopher. You will never do anything in this world without courage. Courage is a basic, very basic, and very advanced value of any human being on this planet to achieve anything. Even you are live with me, or you are watching recording of this, uh, you will know that everybody is doing and living in this planet with in some degree of courage. So if even an average person has a courage, and but obviously that courage is disappeared from his or her action, or from mindset, or for something, uh, but the great people, the great individual, they actually um, speaks out of their courageous attitude, more louder, and more with greater success. And we will explore further about how the courage does work. But before we go further in courage, I want to discuss and read literally meaning of courage. I chose this definition from Cambridge Dictionary. It's saying that the ability to control your fear in a dangerous or difficult situation, or the ability to control fear and to be willing to deal with something that is dangerous, difficult, or unpleasant. So that's a very foundational definition. And there are some sentences people use courage in different situation, um, and we often use in our daily life as well. But we really don't know about exact meaning and paradigm behind courage. What are the paradigm behind the courage, and what is the significance of this notion in our daily life, or in our success? Um, so that's why we are holding this session. Ambrose, he's a very famous author, and he's saying that courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. Uh, I would like to throw lights on some uh, terms and paradigms behind these. One is a courage, and other is its opposite, that is fear. So if somebody is fearful, it means that we perceive that he is not a courageous, because he is frightened from something. Uh, and we often say that the courage, if we want to be courageous, we have to kill the fear. Actually, it's not true. Uh, Actually, the courage exists due to the presence of fear. If fear will die, or there is no fear, it means logically the courage will also not be there. So courage always uh, present in a person when there is a fear. So what happens? A successful person suppress or handle the fear and build the capacity of courage so that he or she can drive the life in the presence of fear. So that's a very important thing because courage cannot exist without fear. And if we kill fear, the courage also does not exist. So that's why the fear has to be there. And therefore, we have to consider this important thing. This thing also in, notified by Dr. Stephen Covey in his Eighth Habit, and he tells that the courage is actually the truly living in a human being, and he consider the courage as a father of integrity, and where is a humility is a mother. So that's why so foundational courage is so foundational. So if the person is very down to earth and he or she is following the principles, natural principles, uh, he will lead towards having a integrity when that person will be courageous, because the courageous person always live truly life, because he or she is a daring person. They do not allow fear in their life to control their daily activities. So that's the how it does work. So foundational. Um, Usually, any person who is very humility nature will also be very courageous as well. If we see in our daily life, if we watch news, and there are many protests are going on for many causes, and these protests are actually courageous, courageous related stuff or action people are doing, and it means that many of them are have a down to earth as well, and that's why it builds their integrity if they are from some country or some NGO or some parties or something. So that's they build their integrity. But any political party, any religious group, or any racial group, any community group cannot be stronger enough if their leaders do not have uh, they do not follow the principles under humility, or they don't live truly as a courageous people. In everywhere, in UK, USA, Australia, India, Pakistan, Middle East, everywhere. These are very, on we as we are living on planet Earth. So, and it's a very small planet. We are like a global village. Everything influences to their neighborby country, and even you are live far away, you still be under influence of other countries' politics or other societies. Because of internet and this digital age, we are very close to each other than before. But and that's why the integrity or humility or courage, or there are so many core values, they also transfer very quickly to each other. At the same time, we can adopt and we can inculcate the things in our on a personal level and also on a mass level as well. So that's therefore this digital age is very blessing for this for our planet because it helps to understand more easily, more closely, and we transfer the values to each other as well. And uh, therefore, the courage also travels from one person to other person, to one family to other family, one town to other town, and one country to other country, one culture to other culture. That's the how beauty of this planet, and that's the dignity of human being as we are living. Uh, uh, I wrote actually the definition, a quick definition of what the courage is. In my opinion, it's a very simple definition. I'm saying that it is courage is inner power balances against risk or fear outside. So it is a reaction. It is uh, when we see any risk or we feel any fear, and there is a inside a spiritual power which we cannot see, that bounces back on something which we see. So outside of ourselves. In any case, it could be the financial fear, the risk to raising the family. Something is not good for myself, for my job, for my family, for my house, for my city, for my neighborhood. It covers all things. But we have to understand between difference between really the fear and the courage. I found this interesting thing from the internet, and the credit goes to this big picture fine focus. On behalf of that, I can do the fear, courage, how they are different. They have one common thing. And what is a common thing between fear and courage? The more you use it, the louder and more powerful it becomes. Yeah, that's true. That's the only common thing between two notions, and many other things are very different. So fear is a creation of mind. It means it does not exist. Where courage is a notion or matter of heart. It does exist because we can feel courage, but fear is a notion of our mind. It's a creation of our mind, and majority and mostly things which creates in our mind, many psychological things, they actually don't exist in reality, in actualized sense. Fear speaks louder and persisting, annoying, convincing, appears real. But courage is very quiet. I will tell you a very great quote at the end of this session. Courage is quite strong and it is based on truth. Fear is opposite. It's very important, and it is more violent. Fear. Many people, because the fear turns into phobias, and phobia cause the deaths of many people. But even before becoming a phobia, the fear itself is a very negative dragging force to go to getting the success. Many people do take a daring step because they have a fear of something. Uh, that's a wrong paradigm. They have to replace fear with the courage, and quietly uh, they will know the truth and will go slowly towards their real success. Fear is easy to hear, and courage is takes effort to listen, because courage is silent thing. It speaks very faint, very quiet, and it is our inner voice, like conscious. It's relate with the spiritual intelligence or emotional intelligence sometime as well. That's why we only great people or chosen people. Chosen, what I mean by chosen people, who are born to make changes or evolve through changes. They, they can feel that thing. Also, the fear attention band that holds you back and prevents you from moving forward. Whereas the courage is a silent strength that propel you forward. Um, so this is the very distinguish meaning between fear and courage. Let me tell you further. I wrote something about fear as well and courage as well. In my opinion, again, if you have courage, you can progress as courage uh, uh, because courage is technical spiritual tool to cope fear successfully. Uh, I also say courage flourishes confidence to do your tasks to achieve daring goals in the life. Well, these are it's self-explanatory because I need to cover a lot of content, so I will go further. Um and I will tell you some example from my personal life when I took a great courageous step in my professional career. Um, I was working. I joined actually the university as an administrative assistant uh, many years ago, and then mm, as an administrative assistant, because there are so many big hierarchy beyond my roles and positions in the administration. So we, as an administrative assistant, or the people who are lower in grades where I was working, they were they were having discrimination in terms of salary and also in terms of other benefits as an employee. So what I did when I was in my transition stage or transformational state of my life, then I spoke in front of vice chancellor um, in a conference um, in front of hundreds of people. I think more than thousands people. I stood on my seat and I presented 13 points for welfare of staff in the role of administrative in the whole university. Um, that was not an easy task for me, but that I did because of my courage was speaking, um, and I vanished my fears that being in spite of on a lower grade, I presented to my vice chancellor in a public the 13 agenda points on behalf of um, my other colleagues as well. So, and boo that boosted my confidence for later professional achievements in the university. So it was an example for my personal life, um, and yeah. So this was the stuff. Also, I want to the daring step in our everyday life. Our mothers who become pregnant and then they conceive babies and then they born the birth for the babies. It is one of the difficult, most courageous ever action or activity from a human being. That when she born a baby, it's so painful. I'm a dad of three. I know what that this pain is, but this pain you cannot bear without being courageous, where you are fighting in every moment, every second between between being dead or giving a life to a new baby. And then obviously you have to be courageous to born a beautiful child. And that's why the mother is always a greater protector and first carer of any child, because the so much courageous effort behind that, not only on at the time of delivery, at the time of labor pain, but when right from the conception of the baby. I acknowledge all these things from my life witness as a husband, and my wife was a great, courageous a lady in my personal life I have ever seen or witnessed. So courage is not an easy value to practice, but it gives you a lot of happiness after when we exercise it. So this is we can understand. I further say about courage that it is opposite of fear. Courage motivates body to free independently will to act in risk perception. Courage shields you against hazards and fears coming in continuously. Yeah. Now, have you seen a person who is hanging on the rope, and if she or he fell down, what will happen? Like this very courageous lady. Uh, many some it's not stunt. Many people they do um, they are very courageous and they try to uh, actually they do like these type of acts because they are so daring. And in today's world, where so many sports activities are going on, sports to being a sportsman or sportswoman, you cannot have this spirit of sportsmanship until you are courageous player in your field. So, because courage initiates to take key bold action to mend your broken relationship as well. Um, I remember many many people's story. For many couples, they have broken relationship where there is no sympathy, empathy between a couple, husband and wife, and the partner. And one small little courageous step from either wife or from husband start to mend the relationship. That's so vital in our daily life. Um, I also witnessed at a workplace when there were conflict between colleagues and between employee and the boss as well. But one small courageous step towards positive development makes the problems or relationship to reborn sometime towards getting the uh, desired result or improved result. So courage is so important, and it starts to take the bold action in the relationships management. Um, it is also very important when your loved one or yourself or anyone is indulged in some sort of addiction. Could be smoking, it could be drug addiction, sexual addiction. There are so many addictions and they are at the verge of death. Um, now, can you imagine that when they are dying, those people, those young people, um, how it is painful for them? If you feel empathy um, for them, uh, I can't feel empathy to be honestly, because when I feel how they are feeling about the life, I start to die, or because I cannot feel their pain. It's too much. And how they can come out, because only the courage um, can give them a hope to come out from that thing. But the problem is, they who can make them realize that there is courage to come out from your current situation. Come on, there is a positive and very beautiful aspect of the life. You don't spoil, you don't kill yourself, and that's why so many positive and great coach or trainers or social workers we need in every society. Thousands of thousands, we need those type of people who can make um, inculcate the courage factor in the dying people, dying young people who are addicted heroin, in in so many other drugs, and these are the biggest challenge, and how we can give them hope, and not only hope, but with sustainable act to follow up until they stand on their own feet, and make their life as a transformational uh, stuff in their life, and the great things can be happen in the society, because we don't have, or we are lack of people who can motivate other, who can give the courage to these dying people or addicted people. So therefore, um, millions of people in America, in Europe, in Asia, in every continent we are. And I remember top 10 countries who have more addiction, drug addiction, are they belongs to America, Pakistan, Afghanistan, uh, some European countries, African countries, so it's so I mean, so painful, these things. So how we can give them courage that they can stand on their foot, they can live normal life, it's a big question. So why this is important, because we need to feel them, that they have a courage to wake up. But there is no, as unfortunately, even uh, there, it is also because we are very happy in our current life, but this happiness also now uh, is like a terrific, in a negative way, is it's a burden on ourselves when people start to increase their weight and they eat so much, and they have a eating addiction, they have money making addiction, they have position or political occupation, or materialistic possessions. um, they, because they don't have courage to come out. That's the most alarming thing. uh, and they want to eat everything, and they cannot stop. The main point of this slide is they do not have courage to come out. Uh, they even don't know how to do it, because they don't have a realization that how they are going, and they are drifting towards death, or a painful last moment of their lives, or last painful years of their lives, because at the end, eating too much, making too much money, filthy type of life, uh, materialistic possessions, they they are I mean, making them die, and eventually they will collapse, because they don't have courage to come out. Again, they we have to make them realize that. Uh, that you are a courageous person and you can come out from this, and this is how you can come, or you need to coach yourself to how to come from this life. um, that's why the nurturing is so important. When we were child or we have a children, we have to educate them how they can actually um, don't give them space these addiction in our life, so that they will not be tested the way the other people are in trials nowadays. um, so it's a great um, message for parents or carers, that they have to teach the children, um, and we need to let them know if they are watching dream, and they have to bring them uh, in a in a real life, because they can only uh, bring the dreams true if they are courage enough. So this is a also Walt Disney quote: "All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them." Um, Also, it's difficult, especially in pandemic. I don't know in your country, if you are watching me, what the disaster is going on in COVID-19 pandemic. Um, Thousands of people are dying, and millions of people are in the symptom of COVID-19 and have this coronavirus. And how we can come out, uh, it's a so alarming thing that everybody is worried. Only we can come out if we have a courage, on not only individual level but also on the nation level. Um, it's not the winning of one nation to other nation, or one person to another person's. It's a sign of whole humanity. But we have to survive, and that survival is only possible if we can have courageous factor in our life. And that courageous factor as an individual will spread and inspire my friend and family, and then to the whole town, and to the city, and to the country, and then to the whole world. That's the only surviving uh, remedy we can do. It's a great quote from: "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you stop to look fear in the face." And that's why we have to be very confident, and we need to gain strength. I also say that courage facilitates the reality to show up ultimately truth, unlikely to the fear that leads to fake reality, that is illusions and delusions. Um, well, this is the quote is related with with spirituality, which gives us the ultimate um, real and ultimate reality. Unlike our current world, in which many people, what they are perceiving, think that they are watching the reality, and that's not true. So courage is the factor, one of the great factor, which show you the reality by knowing the ultimate truth, without perception. Yeah. Um, so that's why how it is so important. Um, this is a picture is a sign of an expression of how successful people um, become successful people, or rich people, or privileged people. But if we see the background of their life, if we read the biography of their previous life, how they were born in a poor parents' houses, or even many people have don't parents. Um, they even don't have used to have shoe or the broken shoes cr- and ripped shoes. But later, when they start to change their life, the only factor they turn into a different level was courage. They initiate different things. They due to they feel the courage in themselves. And all people on greatest role and positions in our society are due to fact of being courageous throughout from their earlier life till now. Um, that's my opinion. So how the courage is so important. Um, the same thing is about this. The greatest fear in the world is of the opinion of others, and the moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion now. A great roar arises in your heart, the roar of freedom. It's a beautiful saying from thing. I also further say about being a courageous. A courageous being perceives. A courageous being mean a courageous person perceive what problems as a challenges to unlock and release potential. When you get to know truth, wipe all so-called facts and brings silence and peace. Uh, so it is very self-explanatory as well, and the courageous person have a very different mindset. They they have very different mindset, and even when they are in fatal diseases, in deadly diseases. For example, now this corona virus. For example, if they have a stroke uh, of advanced level or they have a heart attack, uh, look at their spirit, their courage to fight against uh, diseases. That's the power. You, you have to, even with cancers. Nowadays, many people are recovering from their diseases and they live much longer life, many decades. When the doctor answered them they are going to die in few months, maybe 1 year, but they die next 20 years or 15 years because of courage and not to having acceptance the statement from the doctors. But what they wanted to do, they did. Um, Stephen Hawking is a great example. Uh, when he was diagnosed a deadly disease, and doctor said them would die very soon, but he eventually died after probably I think 15, 20, or 25 years after. That was his courage, and his courage took him to lead many scientific inventions, and he wrote many books as well, many vital books um, after the disease was diagnosed and even treated as well. So that's a beauty of the courage we have to do. Um, all we need to, I further say, we all need to embrace facts that we all have imperfections, right? The courage to realize it on personal level and take steps positively is greatest challenge in personal development. So obviously everybody has many personal issues, weaknesses. They are not strong in many areas of the life. But the courage to realize that's the first step, and then take the wise steps in a positive direction, that will build your personality, that will build your character. Um, so, in the last, we have some reading, and I have come across a small blog post from internet. I will show you, but before that, I will give you a quotation from Dr. Stephen Covey from Eighth Habit book about courage. Uh, Dr. Stephen Covey says, commas start, if humility is a mother, courage is the father of wisdom, because to truly live by these principles, when they are contrary to social norms and values, takes enormous change. Inverted commas close, full stop, a quote finish. So that's I have spoken in my previous sessions as well about importance of being integrity full person, but you cannot be uh, committed with your what you said as an integrity if you do not followed by your humility and courage. Um, so let's start to read that blog, which I say that blog is from charterforcompassion.org. The courtesy goes to them. I found this is a very valid and relevant on the topic of courage and fear. I would like someone to read it for me. Um, if anybody can read it, please.
Fear an unsettling feeling that something is not quite right. When unchecked, it blossoms into a full on somatic experience that paralyzes us, has us dashing hope. We triple deadbolt the door of our soul and hide in the closet of our heart. If we ignore it, fear it will go away, right? No, it becomes overwhelming when ignored. Overwhelmed, we hear fear's voice whispering, why try if you are doomed to failure? Those words extinguish the light of hope. In fear's darkness, all we can see are the shadow portents of doom racing across our soul. Fear eclipses everything until who we are is not who we are meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please go ahead.
So, how do we slip from the grasp of fear? How can we navigate around what threatens to paralyze us? How do we break free of what ensnares us? How do we take a step back from fear and launch ourselves into possibility? Those are tall questions with even taller answers. For a while, we may never be able to totally break free of fear. We can learn to name it, befriend it, and live courageously with it. Courage is the key that unlocks our paralysis and allows us to really live. Courage doesn't run away, it doesn't get stuck in the vacuum of hopelessness. Courage takes a deep breath, anchors in the moment, slowly turns to face fear, and looks it in the eye. With gentle confidence, courage whispers, you may scare me, but I will not let you paralyze me into inaction.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's yeah. The last paragraph, please.
Courage loves fear, for it recognizes that fear is a lost and lonely child adrift in the land of illusions. The illusions wrap around our dreams, making them seem not only impossible, but also ridiculed and vilified. Courage cuddles this lost child close to its bosom. Calming fear, courage chants, it's okay, you're okay. Courage showers fear with unconditional love and compassion. For courage recognizes that without fear, it would be powerless. Courage would be asleep to the world filled with casted shadows of doubt. Courage knows that it is an echo of itself in the absence of fear. Courage is action in response to fear. Courage is gratitude of each scary opportunity for growth.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate Jenny. The last thing I will read it for myself. So maybe the question is note: how do we slip from the grasp of fear? Well, but how can we love our fears enough to act with courage? Each time we answer that question with compassion and loving kindness, we propel us into an incredible lightness of being. Nothing can stop us when courage loves our fear and act upon that love. So that's a blog from charterforcompassion.org. It's a beautiful paragraph. Because of time constraint, uh, I cannot explain in detail, but more a look about that. This is something which is the same like meaning which we spoken and we learned earlier. Um, I would also like to read some of the paragraph from The Speed of Trust, written by son of Dr. Stephen Covey. Uh, and his son name was Stephen M.R. Covey, who wrote The Speed of Trust, where he discussed actually the term being courageous. What does it mean by courage? And he give an example on his personal life. Um, I will read that example. Um, so he wrote, to see this kind of courage in the life of those around us inspires us all to be more courageous. I recently came across a story of courage related by the wife of a man who was in medical school some year ago. She said, getting into medical school is pretty competitive, and the desire to do well and be successful puts a great deal of pressure on the new incoming freshman. My husband had worked hard on his studies and went to attend his first examination. The honor system was expected behavior at the medical school. The professor passed out the examination and left the room. Within a short time, students started to pull little cheat papers out from the under their papers or from their pockets. My husband recalled his heart beginning to pound as he realized it is pretty hard to compete against the cheaters. About that time, a tall, lanky student stood up in the back of the room and stated, inverted commas start, I left my hometown and put my wife and three children, babies, in the upstairs apartment and worked very hard to get into the medical school. And I will turn in the first one of you who cheats. And you better believe it. Inverted commas close, quote close. They believed it. There were many sheepish expressions, and those cheat papers started to disappear as fast as they had appeared. He set a standard for the class which eventually graduated the largest group in the school's history. So, this is an example of being courageous, how he stood up in the class, in the examination class, and then he spoke. The man who stood up in the class that day later became a respected physician. Certainly, what he did was neither comfortable nor easy, but it demonstrated the kind of courage required by integrity, the kind of courage that affirmed timeless principle, lifted others, and that made life better for all of us who depend on our physician's knowledge and skill when our heart and our lives are at stake. So, Winston Churchill said the courage is the first of human's quality because it is a quality which guarantees all others. And the last three lines, as you consider people you believe have integrity, can you see these qualities playing out in their lives? Undoubtedly, they are honest, but are they also congruent, humble, and courageous? So, the Stephen M.R. Covey is focusing on these three quality: congruent, being humble, and courageous. These are the core values which we are studying nowadays as well. Um, so that's the how these things are so important. And before ending of this session, I will request any of online person to read this, the last paragraph, please.
Another way of putting this would be that wisdom is the child of integrity, being integrated around principles, and integrity is the child of humility and courage. In fact, you could say that humility is the mother of all of the virtues because humility acknowledges that there are natural laws or principles that govern the universe. They are in charge, we are not. Pride teaches us that we are in charge. Humility teaches us to understand and live by principles because they ultimately govern the consequences of our actions. If humility is the mother, courage is the father of wisdom. Because to truly live by these principles when they are contrary to social mores, norms, and values takes enormous courage.
Yeah, the same quote I think we read already as well. The some of the lines. So that's the significance of courage in our personal success, and this is one of the single core value in liaison with humility to bond the integrity. Um, so when courage meets with humility, the integrity is born, and from there are two uh, further grandchildren born, which Dr. Stevens said, and we will discuss one of that grandchild or one of the value in the next coaching session in next class next Sunday, and that will be abundance. Um, we will discuss next week what does it mean by abundance. If you are familiar with leadership literature or s- success literature, the belief on being abundance mentality is one of the greatest thing we can ever imagine or we can know. But what does it mean by exactly abundance and how it will contribute in our personal life? I will share with you next session. And before closing it or before taking any question, I promise I will give you a very nice quote about courage. Courage does not always roar. Sometimes courage is the little voice at the end of the day that says, I will still try again tomorrow. It's a beautiful. So earlier we thought that courage and fear both are violent, both speak louder. Yes, courage speak louder as well, but courage also, in reality, courage is very quiet because it is a voice within our conscious, uh, which leads to spiritual intelligence, and also sometimes courage speaks from the heart, which leads to the emotional intelligence. So that's why we are so much concerned about to being courageous. And we cannot see courage, but we can see fear. You know, if somebody has a fear, uh, their five senses, face expression, body language, tell that he or she is in fear. But if somebody is courageous, it is difficult from their face or body expression rather than because he or she is feeling being courageous from the inside. So therefore, uh, more m- more importantly, the inner values We seldom see them outside, but they behave more accurately. They come out with positive outcomes, and they give you the huge and immense personal success, uh, with with so many other things as well, with so many other core values as well. So that's it. We discussed 2 weeks ago about humility, last week about sorry, last week about humility, and 2 weeks ago about integrity. Today we learn about courage, and next week we will learn more about abundance mentality or being a scarcity mindset. Uh, so, so far, if anyone has question, please you can ask freely. I'm available to answer, or we can discuss. You can share any story from your personal life. You can share any of incident if you see when someone was courage or someone was not courageous, and they got a bad result or they got good result. It will help us to understand this notion, and it will help us to become more courageous in our personal life. So please feel free to share any of story from your personal life, or if you have witnessed anyone.
I,
Uh,
I don't have something to share in my personal life, but I do want to say that what you said in your class earlier, um, I just don't, I love this. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. Um, I really like that because that part about courage cannot exist without fear. That's pretty big. I don't know why. I just wanted to share that. That hit me.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And in a real life, even this courage notion is a word, is a language, but its meaning or its expression is immense. But we know this feeling as a courage, but its consequences are it's so big. Look at this woman. This lady, if she does any mistake or something happen, her life is not only at risk, but the people who are watching them, they will lose their courage as well. But she crossed the entire road very successfully, and these type of things or dangerous acts, many people they do to just test how they are courageous enough. So, like I said earlier, every person who is living in this world, in somehow is courage on a very basic level. But because consciously they are not aware that they are courageous on a basic level, but they even don't know they have a courage on an advanced level, and therefore they did not use this advanced level of courageousness. But when there is a paradigm shift, according to Dr. Stephen Covey's first habit, be proactive, in the first chapter, uh, when the person have a paradigm shift and they start to take initiative, that will the consequence of advanced courage in the person, because that person, when changes by the paradigm shift in any level, the courage will start to show in the life, through physical existence, through action, through any behavior or attitude. So that's why so much important this stuff is. Uh, do you have any question before I hang up this session? Uh, Junaid, you have any question? You can hear me? I can unmute your mic. You are free to speak, please, or you're welcome to our class today. Right. So thank you so much for your participation, and if you haven't joined our uh, YouTube channel or Facebook groups, I invite you to join them. Here is the links of our websites or our YouTube channel or Facebook groups. The recording will be uploaded on a YouTube in 1 or 2 days, and you can access this recording as well. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your presence. See you next week uh, with a different topic. Thank you. Bye bye.